Time to get real. I want to see some crazy whiz-biz.
What's the magic made out of, Ding Dong?
I want to see some of that whiz-biz.
This castle is in unacceptable condition! Unacceptable! Mathematical!
You can't like that.
Bacon pancake!
Welcome back to the show. This is WizBiz with Alexx and Erik. I'm Erik.
And I'm also Erik.
And we are two adults talking about a cartoon. And that cartoon is Adventure Time. And that is not Erik over there. I'm the real Erik.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm the real Erik.
Well, maybe we're both named Erik, and maybe one of us is lying. And listener, you can ask us each 2 questions to figure out which one of us is the real Erik. Wait, is that how the game works? Like one of us always lies and one of us always tells the truth?
And I'm going to tell you the truth. I've had that explained to me 1,700 times, and I still don't get it. I get that that's a real thing, but my brain doesn't want to brain like that in the Monty Haul problem. My brain doesn't want to, I can't do it.
Yeah, I like the Monty Haul problem because it's so counterintuitive. But I know what you're saying. So
wait, on that note,
yes.
Could you explain the Monty Haul problem to the audience? Because it just occurs to me that that's probably 4% that knows what the fuck we just said.
Okay, so the Monty Haul problem is you're on the game show. What was the game show? The Price is Right? No, it was.
Like Press Your Luck or no, whatever. There was a game show.
There was a game show.
Yeah.
And at the end, if you were making it all the way through all the grand prizes, at the end there were 3 doors to choose from, and behind one of them was a grand prize worth like a quadrillion dollars or whatever. So if you, God, what was it?
So you have 3 doors to choose from.
Yeah.
If you choose
a door
that doesn't have the actual prize, you have a choice to choose between door 2 or 3 as your second choice.
Yeah.
The idea is statistically you should always choose the other door.
The door opposite your original choice, I think.
Yeah, because your original choice, it's not known if your original... Yeah, so it's not known that your original choice is right or wrong, right?
Yeah. So what happens is there are 3 doors, A, B, and C. And you're like, well, gee, Monty, I'm going to pick door C. And Monty opens up door B and shows you that there's nothing there.
So he does show you that
Monty's
there's nothing there, right?
Yeah. And then Monty's like, well, do you want to switch your guess?
No.
Yep, this is it.
No,
Because
it's not, because he can't show you that it's wrong, because then switching your guess is always going to be right. You would never stick with the one that doesn't have a prize behind it.
No. You pick door C.
Yeah.
He opens door B and shows you that there's nothing behind door B.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, do you want to switch
I
your
thought you meant
guess?
he opened the door you chose. I'm like, no, that would go against the whole thing. Sorry, please continue.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
Originally, when there are 3 doors, you only had a 33% chance of being right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you pick the right door. It doesn't matter if the prize is behind C, right? Once there are only 2 choices, when you guess, you have a 50% chance of being right. So you should change because you have a 50% chance of being right.
See, that's the part that I can't get my brain around. Because choosing to stay is still 50%.
But that's the thing that's confusing about it. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I still don't.
I don't get why.
Here's the thing. I'm never going to get it. Audience at home, it's interesting. You should look into it. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube that explain it.
Yeah.
And
I don't remember the name of the problem with the two
I just know from
guards.
Labyrinth. Yeah.
Is it in Labyrinth? I think it might be an older thing than that.
Oh,
but yeah.
no, I know. I just know it from Labyrinth.
Okay.
Like anybody that was around in the 80s saw that part where...
it's like there are 2 guards. One of them lies all the time. One of them tells the truth all the time.
In that one, there are actually 2 literal doors with door knockers in their mouths
really?
that she has to pull out. They're Muppet door knockers. Yeah. Good times.
I mean, I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah, it's good. By the way, you remind me of The Babe. Oh, that's a different movie. Forget it. No, is that the same movie? Is that Labyrinth?
What? The Babe? Isn't Babe like a pig that talks?
No. The thing with the 2 door knockers with Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, that is Labyrinth. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a part where David Bowie does you remind me of the Babe. What Babe? The Babe with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Hoodoo. You do what? Remind me of the Babe.
I mean, Jennifer Connelly. She was a babe.
Well, he was an
She
actual
still is, I'm sure.
baby fucking Republican.
Oh, what? But Jennifer Connelly.
No, I know, but you're saying a baby's attractive. So I called you a Republican.
Oh, God.
Let us, between the 2 of us, discuss a show I like to call Adventure Time.
one of the groups that I'm a part of, Hocus, the Hermetic Order of Clandestine Urban Scribes.
Correct. Heard of it.
We had our 5th anniversary on Friday, and I emceed it. I ended up being like up in front of the crowd for like 3 or 4 hours, and it was just too much talking, and my throat, which hadn't quite healed from a cold that I'd had a while back, is in bad shape again. I'm just like, fuck this stuff. So yeah, I'm coughing a little bit, but it's not too bad. Adventure Time. Like we decided to do some skips, so we're going to be talking about season 5, episodes 5 and 6. Although I did watch the other 2 episodes just to see if there's anything important.
Yeah, it's 5 Short Grables, and what was the other one?
Up a Tree.
Yeah, Up a Tree, I'm sure there's nothing. That's a terrible episode.
I really like Up a Tree. I don't really find it to be a terrible episode, but yeah, there's the only, I think it's an important episode to watch if you are going to watch Fiona and Cake, because the Fiona Cake character is introduced there.
Yeah, I shouldn't say it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible for the context in which we're doing the show. Not it's terrible as an episode of Adventure Time. I should be more careful with that. Yeah. No, I don't think there is an actually like bad episode of Adventure Time. There's
what about that one where Ice King dresses up as a pony?
Yeah, I'm sure there's bad ones. I'm just saying like there's no like, oh my God, this sucks. Yeah. That's and 5 Short Grables, I'm on record as saying I don't really like the Grables episodes.
Well, I watched the Grables episodes. The only thing that was plot important in there was that lady was really pregnant, Lady Rainicorn.
Oh yeah.
And then in Up a Tree, Mark Maron played the squirrel.
That is true. Yeah, and he shows up a few times as a squirrel.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, just on a side note, this is I think before Mark Maron got super popular with his podcast.
Oh, really?
Or maybe it's like early on. What?
That would have been 2012.
This is 2012?
Yeah.
God,
12 years ago.
Yeah. So Mark Maron podcast start. Oh, wow. No, kidding. Sorry. My bad. He was already, totally wrong.
When did he start?
2009.
Wow.
He's one of the few shows older than, he's been doing it longer than me. There's like 12 people that have been doing it longer than me. And
yeah, that's pretty amazing. So anyhow, the episodes we're going to talk about are episode 5, All the Little People, and episode 6, Jake the Dad.
Yes. Now, Eric, I just one question for you about this episode.
Okay.
About All the Little People.
Uh-huh.
So if doing all, like, it's just like, do as thou wilt is the whole of the law.
Uh-huh.
And then love is the law, love under will. Who's will?
Well, I mean, that's really the question, right? What Magic Man says is, do what thou swill be the whole piece of law.
Yeah, I mean, it's close enough. Oh, by the way, that's, wait, I'm being too glib. I'm sure the audience at home knows, but just to be clear, that is one of the axioms of Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley's religion, Thelema.
Thelema, yes. Yeah. Just to be clear, it is said by Magic Man in this episode. I'm sure many, many % of you know that, but that would be baffling to hear if you're unfamiliar with that.
Right.
I need to be aware we're talking to people.
So in this episode, Magic Man shows up, and he is the antagonist, although he never directly interacts with the characters. He basically gives Finn a bag of tiny magic action figures that seem to have a life of their own.
Interesting. Let's not to be tangent boy here, but does that count as being an antagonist? He's more I
don't know. Don't you have the English major?
Yeah. But
well, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel like he's more like the inciting incident. Though, I don't know. It's interesting because, I guess you could say he's an antagonist, but it's more so he's almost like the inciting incident that allows things to happen. Because
he definitely. Yeah. I believe that Magic Man kind of takes over as an antagonist. Well, he is an antagonist of this portion of the series, right? Like Ice King, too much of Ice King's story has been told. Too much, the writers have spent too much time building sympathy for the Ice King and sort of presenting Ice King as more of a disabled person than a bad guy. We now have
sympathy for him, so it's tough for him to
so
be the
he's
main
not
bad guy.
really an antagonist. Yeah. So I feel like Magic Man has sort of stepped in to be kind of the unbeatable wizard antagonist and will remain that way until Betty steals his powers.
When I was in college, some person, this was like, English 101, one of the ones that like you had to take, and some kid in my class pronounced it antagonist.
Antagonist.
Because I guess they never seen it. I don't dunk on people for mispronouncing words. That just means you've only read it. But it was a funny. It's like, oh wow, that's funny. Like I wouldn't even never think about breaking it up that way.
Do you have any fun words like that you mispronounced for years until you heard another person say them?
I mean, it's not technically mispronounced, but like I pronounced it more macabre, which is like that's sort of right.
Really close,
but like it's. I mean, really, it's macabre would be like the English way to do it. I mean, no one pronounces it that way, but like
well, that's how I pronounced it. I called it macabre before I heard somebody else say it, but it's macabre. That's how people say it.
Like,
right, but people say macabre.
No, totally. But like that's the closest one that like I didn't even know there was an option.
Funny that we have the same word, but you were pronouncing it right and giving yourself a hard time about
well,
that.
I mean, it's not right though. It's
English, right?
Yeah, but I mean that's like modern English, right?
But that's what we speak.
No, I mean modern, like 1970s.
That's what we speak.
Yeah, but fuck the 70s. I mean it's mostly just shit that I would read out loud wrong. Like if I were like. At any point, I'll probably say chaos on accident if I'm reading something instead of chaos. I know I mispronounced. I had a famous one on the Alexx cast.
Oh, really?
Oh God, yeah, I got dunked on really bad. It was. Nah, I'm not going to remember. If anybody inexplicably remembers this, I was reading something out loud. I'm like, oh my God, is that how that's spelled? Like I just whiffed ridiculously on like a really common word, but it was like, oh, I had no fucking idea.
I think. I don't know that I ever really had the opportunity to say it out loud, but voila, like voila.
Voila, yeah.
Yeah, it's spelled viola.
Yeah.
Right. That was something that when I saw it, or when I realized it, I was like, oh, I guess I didn't realize how voila was spelled.
Yeah.
So that was sort of a reverse one, I guess. And then my mom likes to tell the story of how she used to say calliope instead of calliope.
Oh, yeah.
And that's an interesting one because who in the hell ever uses that word now?
People named Calliope?
But who names their kid Calliope?
That was a show on in the 80s.
Yeah, but fuck the 80s.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear you. Fuck the 80s. Fucking nostalgia trap.
All right, so Aleister Crowley in Thelema, there are those two sort of main axioms. There's do what thou wilt is the whole of the law, and then love is the law, love under will.
Well, that's the same thing, right? Isn't that just... That's the whole.
It gets kind of split up sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's whatever. It doesn't. I'm not
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. What I will
I'm not
say.
trying to play semantics. Oh wait, how's it pronounced?
You mean semantics?
Yeah.
You.
Good one, Alexx.
So I'm not really like an expert in Thelema. So I only have. I've talked to Thelemites about those phrases or sort of like read some stuff about it, but I'm not. I know that if I say anything, I would like just the listeners to know that there's probably a lot more nuance and a lot more thought that's gone into them in Thelemic thinking than what I'll say. But like, the idea of do what thou wilt be the whole of the law, ties into, kind of this, Thelemic concept of will with a capital W. And will is sort of a combination of the individual's drive and I almost want to say like they're sort of like their dharmic place in the universal plan, right? Like when you are following your true will, you do everything according to that will and nothing gets in your way because you are effortlessly following the plan.
Yeah.
The divine sort of puzzle is falling into place in front of you.
That's my basic understanding of it as well.
Yeah. And then like the love is the law, love under will. I don't really have a very good concept of what that means, but I do have kind of like a, love in the occult sense takes on a bunch of different interpretations and a bunch of deeper sort of nuanced meaning that I'm not really sure that Crowley would have had access to a lot of the kind of scholarship that was reinterpreting like the Renaissance picture of love or like the early Western esoteric picture of love. But love is kind of it's controlled by the Greek god Eros, or is sort of embodied by Eros or something of that nature. And it is seen as the binding force that sort of holds all things together. So It is electromagnetism and gravity and the bonds between people and the bonds between people and things that they love. And like anything that you are connected to is sort of bound by some sort of love. So the idea of love being the law or love being a law under will is that your bonds and your connections are the things that you should treasure, but you'll know which of those bonds are true because you'll be following the path of your true will, perhaps. That would be my interpretation of it.
Yeah. No offense to the curly people listening, but full offense is I've never met a Thelemite that didn't remind me of someone that just never aged from being angry and in high school. It is a petulant child of a belief system. And maybe I've just had bad luck in the literal dozens I've met, but at some point you have to go, I know it's a small sampling size, but Jesus Christ, calm the fuck down.
So I kind of had that opinion for a long time too, but a few things have kind of changed my mind. So I met, Lon Milo Duquette back in the, I don't know, like probably mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And I got along with him really well. I really enjoyed talking to him. I enjoyed his personality. He made a really strong impression on me as a good person.
Yeah, but Lon Milo, if I just may interject here, Lon Milo Duquette, I know he's like super into curly, so I presume he's a Thelemite.
He's one of the head people in the OTO.
Yeah. But he strikes me as very much the outlier. That's a well-reasoned, well-thought man that's done a lot of the study.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I'm more referring to like the.
Yeah, I'm not done with my story.
Yeah, I just want to be. I guess I should be clear. I'm sure there's actual. A lot of the cat I was really into for a long time. I read a bunch of his books. Like, he's great, but I'm more referring to, the meat and potatoes type. Please continue.
Well,
Sorry.
I think that's been something that's been shifting as well.
Yeah.
And I would give as evidence my experience with local Portland Thelemites over the last 5 years or so. The local OTO. So the OTO, for listeners who might not know, the Ordo Templi Orientis is kind of like the fraternal order, or the initiatic order that is tied to Thelema, the religion of Thelema. I encountered the local OTO lodge and their new leadership back when my Hermetic lodge got started, and they sort of helped out, and they were super, super delightful, very kind of queer friendly, way more open-minded, way less goth than I remembered or that I had encountered before.
Yeah.
And then now I've been working a lot with some OTO members because they run Darkstar Magic. The owner of Darkstar Magic is a member of the OTO, and I believe that they're all Thelemites. And they are fucking delightful. They are just incredibly nice people, very welcoming, very open-minded, very they don't feel like weird occult edgelord bros at all. So the local, at least, collection of Thelemites and OTO people, all of them that I've encountered and interacted with over the last 4 or 5 years have been really, really lovely.
Yeah. I can't tell you the story, but you know it. There's at least. Yeah, I can't say anything because I'd give it away, but I have evidence to the contrary.
Well, I mean,
not about the people you named, but it doesn't matter. It's fine.
I also, there's a local Thelemite whom I was kind of friends with, who ended up dating a neo-Nazi, and that was pretty gross. So, there's still.
Actually, now that I think about it, there's two I can think of. The other one is my first most is. I've rarely had worse vibes off of someone. And I'm not one of those trust your vibes. I usually just let it bear out, but just radiating shitty. Just the most I'm kind of I'm deaf, dumb, and blind when it comes to psychicness for the most part. But just this was radiating ugh, I don't want to fucking be in your orbit. Oh, and pardon me for using every single one of those terms, which are probably offensive now, but I'm using it in a metaphorical sense. But okay, all right. So I think Thelema's stupid. Erik wants to suck Crowley's dick.
I don't. I'm not a Thelemite myself.
Hey, fun thing. Do you know what the Greek word for will is?
Yes.
Please tell the audience. I was trying to get you to say it.
Is it Thelema?
It is Thelema.
Holy crap.
Yeah. You can't I'm not trying to be the corrective here, but I'm being slightly corrective. You're really shitting on the audience by saying that. No one in the audience knows that.
They do. A lot of our audience they're occult people. They listen to us because,
so?
I know so.
I only know 2 people that listen, and I bet you at least 50% of them didn't know that.
I know like 3 or 4 people that listen, and that's unfortunately a sizable portion of our listeners.
Oh, yeah, good point. I forgot
and
no
they
one
all
listens. No, fair point. Yeah.
they all listen because of the occult stuff.
Okay, fair point. Yeah. No, because if you know 3 or 4 people, that is basically all of our audience. I take back everything I just said. I apologize.
That's not true. Our audience
No,
is...
but it's a sizable enough thing. I just I feel like I'm the one that's supposed to shit on the audience, and you're supposed to be the nice guy.
Well,
and
okay,
I'm
but that's why
kayfabe.
I mean, that's why I wanted to also say that I don't consider myself anywhere near an expert on Thelema, so I don't feel like my take on it is very deep or nuanced. And also, I did have a negative opinion of the OTO based on a lot of interactions that I'd had with them, but lately, over the past 5 years, those have been different, and I'm kind of like, oh,
yeah. For a lot of my opinion comes from late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, same here.
Edgelord Thelema, which maybe it's changed, but whatever. Also, just as a person that's ragingly disinterested in sex, it's just like, just calm down, guys. It's just, I'm just like, religion via boner, great.
Yeah, it's a boner religion for sure.
Hey, speaking of boner religions,
yeah,
Adventure Time.
Huh?
I was just trying to get us back on the show.
Oh, well, okay. So that's just one of the things in this particular episode. Like, I think that this episode has some very interesting kind of occult undertones. Overtones? What are the difference between
tones?
Tones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Magic Man creates this bag of little magic action figures that seem to be alive and seem to have a life of their own.
Homunculi, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. And Finn plays around with them and meddles in their lives. I feel like there's an element of that is sort of like a type of almost like a reflection of Gnosticism, right? Where Magic Man literally is a mad creator god.
Yeah, he's Yaldabaoth.
Yeah, and Finn becomes enamored with this created world, and almost kind of like takes on the role of like one of the Gnostic archons, manipulating the world and manipulating all of these creatures. Yeah. But then the interesting thing is the abandonment stage, right? Where Finn comes to his senses and he's like, oh crap, I can't do this anymore. And he has to, so awful, he has to shake them in order for them to talk to him.
Hell yeah. I wish God would do that to me.
And then he's like, I'm abandoning you. I'm not coming back.
Again, kind of wish God did that.
And that abandonment thing feels like deism. Deism.
Thomas Vitale, man.
Huh?
Really bad joke. Just keep going.
Deism has this element in it where there is a disinterested God, sometimes referred to as Providence, who sets the world into motion and then leaves it and is no longer there.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It's like founding father shit.
Yeah. There were a number of deists who were founding fathers.
This wasn't, what's his butt? The guy that wrote the thing was a deist, right? Jefferson? I get all their names fucked up. I'm bad at it. The one that took Jesus is all the miracles out of the Bible. I think it's Jefferson.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Jefferson thought that he was a deist. I think that he believed in some sort of weird rationalism or something, but also he was a racist prick.
I mean, he did make love to some black people, so I don't see how he could be racist.
Gross.
Hey, tell that to the Jefferson Society. Oh, wait, no, I just understood the context. I can only apologize.
Anyhow, so I really, so this episode overall kind of gives me the creeps. I don't like it very much. It makes me uncomfortable to watch.
I'm quite fond of this one, for a number of reasons. One, it feels like Finn reacting to how bad his life is and just going fucking weird. Because even Jake mentions in the beginning where, he's talking to Finn and Finn's just being, he's like, oh, I see. You're just being weird. Like he literally like tried to like, and it like, I think it's an interesting kind of mix, but like reaction thing. And also Finn being hyper aware to the point of almost breaking the fourth wall. Mm-hmm. Like at one point he refers to the third string characters. Yeah. And he's like Tiffany, Donnie, and Zergiok referring to the C-listers.
The C-listers. Yeah. It's a very fourth wallish kind of remark.
Yeah. Which I like, cause that feels like kind of the growth of Finn as a character and the growth of the show as well. That it's like, it's moving beyond the bounds of, this just feels like a very like, movement-y kind of, peppy episode, even though there's not a lot of like actual storylines, because it's also Finn reflecting on a lot of the things that have happened. Because he takes little Flame Princess, and he sees what happens if she gets with whoever. He gets Cupcake Guy with
Lady Rainicorn.
Lady Rainicorn. Like there's a lot of like, and it just, but if you're watching it, it's him almost processing trauma through these little guys to the point that like, because he's like,
it fucks him up. Like there's that whole thing where it's like 16 weeks later.
Yeah,
like,
we got that 16 weeks later. If people on the internet know what that is. Like we've referenced in the past, he's got the vault of like bad memories.
Yeah.
And I think this is like the only way he knows how to process as a person with like severe depression and CPTSD, I'm like, I kind of like, I get this, man. Like this, like, he's just like watching it go. Like, and it's, I mean, I've empathy for him, and it just kind of, I'm rarely warm on Finn. That's not true, but like,
yeah, he's
usually my ire gets dumped on him on this show. And like this one is just like kind of maybe like, oh yeah, he's like a kid that's had a pretty fucking weird upbringing. And
I mean, he doesn't have anybody around to talk to about the trauma that he's gone through. And so I mean, it's funny to watch, at the beginning when Jake is giving Finn like relationship advice, Finn doesn't really get it. His first thing is like, well, do you think BMO and Ice King would be a good couple? And it's like, what? How does that possibly enter into Finn's head as a thing to suggest?
Well, I think, but that's, I'm reading too deep into it, but I would say Finn being an underage character that was for a while obsessed with a creature of great power that's too old for him.
He still is. Even Flame Princess is a creature of great power that's too old for him.
No, Flame Princess is his age, canonically. They're the same age. They referenced it earlier.
Okay.
But PB is way, in multiple ways too old for him.
Yeah.
So what does he do? He goes, I wonder if BMO and Ice King, which is basically Finn and Princess Bubblegum.
Yeah.
Like, in the power dynamic age-wise thing.
Yeah.
And I know I'm overthinking it, but like,
No.
just as a trauma response, it's like, I totally see like, that's the thing. That's why he did it first. And then he gets obsessed that he just becomes this evil god that just fucks with things. But also, and I think we're missing the key important thing in this episode. More important than Crowley, more important than trauma dumping, more important than anything else.
Than the Gnostic mad god Yaldabaoth.
More important than all of that combined, multiplicative by anything else. I want a tiny sentient BMO to be in my pocket. That tiny BMO is the most adorable thing in the universe.
It's tinier than your BMO.
Imagine like something you could have on your keychain, but it's BMO and it moves around and it just makes BMO noises.
And he's just like, wow, 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 wow. But Nikki Yang doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the key to this episode. And that's why this is the best episode of the series. I can't even defend that point. I just thought it'd be funny to say.
I would rather have a more useful little sidekick, a tiny Flame Princess or a tiny Lady Rainicorn. If you could manage to talk to them somehow, if you could do the shaking just right and be like, I don't know, pick this lock or go through this and go fetch blah 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 blah. If you had like a sidekickable.
Well, then you'd want Tiny Jake because he can stretch.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially for lockpicking. It's perfect.
But Tiny Jake is so lazy.
Yeah, but you can shake him. If I've learned anything from being a parent, is shaking babies is the way to get things done.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think probably is a good time to get into the next episode, which is all about parenting lessons. But first...
Wait, I have one more point to make on this episode.
Okay.
And it's a legitimate non-Alex point. Well, 2 points. One, he's reading a trash book.
And it's a dog zone.
And you can read sections. And I didn't bother to read it, but if anybody at home is watching the episode, you can pause it and there's full text you can read. But the actual point is because this is like that kind of transitory episode that like recognizes the past and it's leading to the future. And I think that part's like actually legitimately thought about when they made the episode.
Yeah.
This is an episode that ends with them dancing, which is a thematically season 1 stuff. There's so many season 1s. Hey, let's have a dance party at the end.
Oh my God, you're right. Because Finn probably feels like problems can be solved by.
This is that fourth wall breaking thing. So Finn, as the creator deity, says, "Hey, we have a dance party," and puts out a little boom box. It makes all the people dance together, even the C-listers.
Yeah. Well, and Jake brings the C-listers. Jake's like,
Oh yeah, Jake's like, break out the C-listers. Yeah. Big fan of that.
Yeah, and it's kind of that's a really good point because it just seems like in early episodes they solved way too many problems with dance parties.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a damn fine episode.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, Erik.
Do you maybe have, I don't know, like some shiny rocks?
I have a shiny rock.
A shiny rock only.
Yeah, and frankly, I think I've done this one before, but I've not done the full backstory on it.
Okay.
And if I have, I apologize. But we've done a lot of episodes, and I rarely cite my hero, Susie Dent. But on her show...
Who's Susie Dent?
Susie Dent is a linguist. She's amazing. She's this British lady. She's
What's
like the
her
best
show?
person. Her show is called... it's with Giles Brandreth, and it's called... I haven't listened in a while. Hold on.
Is it a podcast?
Yeah, it's been around for a while. It's called... Oh, God.
Well, you got to
purple?
tell me.
Yeah, something rhymes with purple.
What rhymes with purple?
Herple is the answer, which means to walk in like a... Oh, there's a second word of the day, herple. And there's also another one that I don't remember. But something rhymes with purple. Susie Dent and Giles Brandreth, you'd love it. Giles, I think he's kind of like your spirit animal. He's like this old weird guy that likes little tiny, picadillo, little tiny things of knowledge, and he's super smart, he reads poetry, and he just recites it, and he's kind of dad jokey, but like in an Erik way, not in an Alex way. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you listen to him, I think it will make sense to you.
Okay.
But it's a delightful show that I stopped listening to when I started this show because she's got a word of the whole show is her just sharing words with the audience.
Okay.
And I didn't want to just be a thief.
Right.
But why did I bring that up? Oh, because listening to the show, she just spaces out and she's said the same words like 8 times the first 100 episodes. Like she just, because it's her favorite words that she just kind of comes up with. So I feel like since she is infinitely better at language than me, and when I say that as someone that's good with language, she is infinitely better at language than me. I feel like she's given me permission to repeat this.
Okay.
So Erik, if I have done it on the show before, I hope you know the answer, but what is ultracrepidarian? I'm not 100% sure I've done it on the show, but I know I haven't given
you have not done it on the show.
Oh, good. Okay.
Crap. So crepidarious is a word that I need to... I don't remember what crepidarious means, so I can't tell you.
Do you know what ultra means? Well, you dumbass.
Yes.
Yeah, well, apparently you don't know what crepidarian is, so maybe I have to break that. I'm kidding. Ultracrepidarian is, it's basically saying shit outside your expertise.
Oh.
But the story behind that word is why it's interesting.
Okay.
Ahem. First of all, I shall like to ask you this. You a Pliny or a Pliny guy?
I don't really like either of those.
That's the only two way I've heard like smart people say it. I'm a Pliny guy.
Well, I mean, so the thing is, like, those are both ways that English speakers say it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where I'm from.
Pliny, I've heard mostly from beer drinkers, because there's the Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger out of Russian River Brewing.
Yes.
And I used to say Pliny all the time until I encountered Pliny's Natural History and spent some time with it myself. But I kind of feel like Latin, it would probably be something like Pliny.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you're to have a conversation and you have to bring him up, what would Erik say?
Erik would want to say Pliny, but half the time I would say Pliny.
Okay, so you're still within the two acceptable English words. Okay, so I'm a Pliny guy. No reason for it. It's just the first time I heard of him.
You're a what guy?
I'm a Pliny guy.
Okay.
No, I'm a Pliny guy. Sorry,
Pliny guy.
I've said both too many times, and now my brain's falling apart.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like I feel like if I'm talking fast, I'll say Pliny, but I try to catch myself and say Pliny.
And I'm only a Pliny because that's the one I heard first. It's not. There's no backing to this. It's just so anyway, ultracrepidarian, and this is a lovely story. So, attributed to English essayist writer William Hazlitt, and he used it to a letter to William Gifford. The reference is to a Greek story concerning the painter Apelles, who supposedly placed new works on public display and hid behind them to hear people's reactions.
Okay.
In book 35 of his Natural History, Pliny the Elder records that a shoemaker, which is crepidarian is a shoemaker, noted that one figure, technically this is 2 words, so good segment, had noted one figure had the wrong number of straps on his crepida, or crepida, whatever, a kind of elaborate sandal.
Okay.
Delighted to see it fixed the next day, he supposedly began to critique the form of the leg. so annoying Appleese that the painter came out to tell him to mind his own business, that a shoemaker should restrict his commentary to the shoes. This became a Latin proverb, ne suspra crepidem sutor tuciaret, let not the cobbler pass judgment beyond the shoes. So ultra-crepidarian is when you're talking shit about something you don't know fuck all about.
Oh.
Which, by the way,
Like
hi.
us with the Lima.
Hi, my name's Alex. I hosted for over 10 years the Alexx Cast, the most ultra-crepidarian podcast that has ever existed, next to the Joe Rogan Experience and any other thing hosted by a rich white guy.
Well, I feel like we might have crossed the line into ultra crepidarian commentary when we were talking about Thelema, but I did try to give a disclaimer that I don't really consider myself an expert on Thelema or Thelemic philosophy.
I am no expert in deciding whether or not someone is ultra-crepidarian. I would say, though, in the case of our Thelema talk, we had no claim to authority, which I feel like absolves us of ultra-crepidarianism.
Yeah.
The other word, I'll just throw it off the top of my head because I'm sure I've done it on the show in the early episodes, but one of my favorite words in the world, and this reminds me of it, because you could just say, dude, you're talking bullshit. You don't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. Instead of going some word that like 4 people are going to know, is sesquipedalian.
Right. Which is, what is sesquipedalian?
It's the overuse of long words when smaller ones would suffice.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But isn't it because, isn't there like a thing there like sesquipedalian means a certain number of letters?
Yeah. It's like 150.
Yeah.
Like the that one.
Yeah.
I think sesqua is 50. So it's like, it's 150 or something like that. It's sesquipedalian. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which is another favorite word. But that also reminds me of just one more time, the fear of long words.
What was that one?
Which of course is hapapoptomonstro sesquipedalophobia.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, audience at home, just so I can be slightly impressive, I do not have that in front of me. That shit is burrowed into my dome since I learned that when I was in either early college or late high school.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, what is the one that
also
anti-disestablishmentarianism? That's the word that I remember in my head.
Yeah, that long word thing is utter horseshit. It's not a real word. It's like a fun.
Right.
Just be clear, I'm not.
I mean, anti-disestablishmentarianism is. There's no way that's a real ass thing.
Yeah. Do you know English's longest word? I'm sure we've talked about it on the show, but since we're on the topic of fun pop words that are like...
Isn't it a place name? No,
I'll give you a hint. It involves volcanoes.
Well, what is it?
It's pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, my dear boy. It's a lung disease caused by breathing the silica fibers of a volcano. So pneumono, lungs, ultramicroscopic, silico, volcano, osis.
There we go.
Yeah. It's been a favorite word of mine ever since I was about a wee boy of, in my early 20s.
I feel like you really came through with this shiny rock segment. You had one word that you wanted to talk about, but it led to a cool story and a bunch of other fun shared words.
I'm reasonably sure
you totally shined this rock, dude.
I'm very sure. Ultra crepidarian withstanding. Those other words I've said on the Alexx Cast at least. And I think we've done it on WizBiz before. I almost call this Jaws.
Well, I think that you need to remember that Alexx Cast is extra canonical to WizBiz.
Yeah.
No, but you're a totally different character. You're a different Alexx.
I can't remember when I've said things because I don't remember my podcast, but I do remember me talk Mike word. To use the very scientific things. All right, so let us talk about the next episode.
Oh my God, I love this episode.
Is called Jake the Dad. But before we start that, let me ask you this question.
Yes. Yeah. Season 5, episode 6, Jake the Dad.
Jake the Dad.
I love this episode. This episode gives me the warm feels. It makes me smile to watch. Like, this is one of those Adventure Time episodes that I just find to be a delight and a joy to experience. And it's just filled with like wonderful little gems of niceness.
I would say that this episode is, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But this episode, is a marker on something in my other part of my life. So I do Twitch streaming, twitch.tv/verbalx, like verbal Alex, but you combine the two. So verbalx.
Is that like a portmanteau?
Yes, it's a portmanteau, which is named after a handbag.
Okay.
Audience at home, you should check that out. Eric, maybe put that in the show notes,
okay.
but I would not blame you if you don't.
I'm putting it here in my notes.
But the point is, since I started it, I've had like this little opening thing, just a blank screen with the video game music, and it just says, starting soon. And like literally every time I start that, I go, I really need to get that fucking clip from Adventure Time where BMO goes, let's play who wants to play video games? And I'm
And
like,
it's this episode.
I'm like, I have no idea what episode that's from. And I'm like, I'm sure I could find it easily. I've not done it because I'm incredibly lazy, but here it is. But what sucks though, is I'm still not going to do it. Like, even though I know.
Well, maybe I'll grab it out of this episode and it'll be the little closing clip for season 5.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. Because then we could do it. But it's just, as I heard it, I'm like, hey, that's a thing I think of. Like, I just thought it last night when I was streaming. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do it.
So, I want to talk about some of the stuff I love in this episode. I mean,
yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay. I mean,
wait, I want you to close your notebook right now. Please name all of Jake's children.
Charlie,
Mm-hmm.
TV,
Mm-hmm.
Kim Kil-won,
Mm-hmm.
and Jake Jr.
You're missing one.
I am? Oh shit, the stupid one.
I'll give you a hint. You've said this earlier in this very show.
I said a lot of stuff earlier in this show.
I know. I was repeating it to give you more time to think. That was just dramatic tension to give you more. Because I also realized as I tested, I'm like, oh, this is kind of rude. I shouldn't be doing this, but I thought it'd be fun.
Hold on. Let me go through them in order in my head again. Because I said them out of order. Kim Kil-won is the youngest.
Well, weirdly, you said them in the order they were introduced in the show.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
Jake Jr.
You just skipped one. Yeah.
Jake Jr. is the weird one.
That's the last one.
Yeah, Jake Jr. is the last one. I
love that Jake Jr. is a woman or female.
I said TV.
Uh-huh. So you said Charlie, TV, Kim Kil-won, and Jake Jr. You're missing one.
I don't know. Who am I missing?
I'm going to do a hand motion, and I'm going to see if you get it. What would someone say when they do this?
Oh, Viola.
Viola.
Shit, I like that.
Because you said well earlier, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I know, and I was thinking about that earlier when I said that. I was like, oh, yeah, that's one of Jake's kids. No. But, I mean, Viola's a great name, too, because, Jake plays a viola, et cetera, et cetera.
Also, I would just like to be very clear here. If this same quiz happened backwards, because as I said that, I'm like, that's kind of rude of me. I think I would have gotten 3 out of 5. So just, Eric is very smart and remembers more things than me. I had my list in front of me.
So when I was reading about this episode and sort of like looking into it, I went through and I was like, I read about each of the kids and where they show up again later on in the series. Because they all have a part later in the series. Just most of them aren't very major. Kim Kil-won is the father of Bronwyn, who's Jake's granddaughter.
And Kim Kil-won has a really solid I don't have a relationship with my dad episode, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then TV, is it TV or is it Charlie who ends up opening the new detective agency? The one who's like just sort of a loser who lives in the basement playing video games and I'm sorry. I mean, you're moving out of the basement.
I'm hurt.
I didn't mean it in that way, though.
I mean, I feel like you did.
I didn't mean it in that way. I said it out loud, and then I was like, oh, shit.
Audience at home, if you are as insulted as I am, please go to twitch.tv/verbalex, VERBALEXX. Sign up, subscribe, give me your Amazon Prime, and make me feel better about being, and I quote, a basement-dwelling loser.
But you're moving out of the basement.
Yeah, but I got the loser stink on me now.
I mean, by the time this episode's released, you will no longer be in the basement.
Second floor dwelling loser.
But
in a weird moment of me having self-esteem.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even have thought of it until you stopped into the like, oh yeah, that is. or in a very predictable moment of me not paying good enough attention to what's going on around me. Here's a funny thing. BMO, one of the more adorable episodes.
Yeah.
BMO saying puppies, hilarious. But Mom's Manual for Raising Beautiful Children.
The MMRBC.
It's so good. What a dumb joke. It is so stupid. And the fact that it just has MR, like it's so dumb. And that it's like a semi-sentient mom who's not good at being a mom.
I know,
which is great.
how stupid, and like the fact that like Jake has the memory of like, so one of the things that I really enjoy about this episode is the development of the kids. How at the beginning of the episode, it kind of does this thing where it wants to, the show wants to trick you into feel like, oh, the dynamic's changing. Jake's moving out.
Yeah.
And I mean, this episode's what, like 12 minutes long? Like all of them, they're like 12 minutes long. We talk about these episodes for more than they run.
Yeah, that's generally true.
Yeah. So you kind of get this feeling like, oh no, the dynamic of the show is changing. But then by the end of the episode, they managed to do the whole thing like, oh no, everything's back to normal again, because it turns out rainicorn babies grow up really quickly. Yeah. And by the end of the episode, all 5 of Jake and Lady Rainicorn's kids have their own superpowers. They Voltron up into like the super pup. They beat up the foxes. They do all this stuff. They've all got their own powers. And Jake is like, they don't need me anymore. I'm out. And there's something to that that's like really, really abrupt that is kind of bittersweet, I think, by the end, and then continues to be bittersweet throughout the show as Jake's, because I mean, Jake grows old throughout the show, like faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
And
there's also the kind of on the same layer of what you're talking about. We were talking about last episode of Adventure Time, not of our show. This is another meta awareness thing. That's a joke on sitcom stuff. Where it's like,
it is, yeah.
It's like, oh no, whoop, we're wiped back to where we were yesterday.
They don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a thing that, like, you know that Jake doesn't want to be a deadbeat dad. There's nothing about any of this that makes it seem that way. Like, he's totally going through that whole, it's a real thing. You know, people, new parents are exhausted all the time.
Which, by the way, I always wanted to have kids and it didn't work out because like I'm apparently an unlovable piece of shit. But
ooh, really? I've never wanted to have kids.
Yeah, I always did.
People
and then
tried to have kids with me.
And then I never met anybody like that because you're likable and I'm a piece of shit. Apparently, that's basically drilling loser and I quote. But
I don't know if that's true. I don't think that's true.
God, is that the kind of dad I would be of just staying up all night staring at them because I'm such a fucking anxiety person about me. Like every time I go to sleep. One of the first thoughts I have before I go to bed is, I'm probably not waking up tomorrow. Like my entire life, I always have that thought. Like,
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm a trainer.
Wow.
But like, having like a baby that's like laying there, like not even fully grown. Oh God, I would be such a fucking train wreck. I mean, unless I had like a reasonable wife that could like say words to me to make it better. Preferably not in Korean because I don't speak Korean yet. So if any Korean ladies out there are looking to marry someone,
especially Nikki Yang.
Yeah, Nikki Yang is out there.
And you want to dress in a big cardboard box that's been painted blue.
Big cardboard box? Oh,
so Nikki Yang could be in a BMO costume.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I was staring at TARDISes or TARDI on my wall when you said that. And my brain went to a Doctor Who-y place.
Do you remember that episode of modern Doctor Who where TARDIS got changed into a woman?
Yeah.
I would marry the TARDIS.
That has
for sure.
One of the best jokes ever. I'm going to get the line wrong, but I think it was Clara was with him. He goes, did you wish really, really hard? it was just such a fun, like, I got that quote like kind of wrong, but like, it's so good. Anyway, yes.
I mean, if we wanted to, both marry big blue boxes, you could marry BMO, I'd marry the TARDIS, and we could have like a thing, a wedding thing, like a double wedding.
Wait, so you get to marry a smoke show with infinite powers, and I get to marry an underage boy. Is what you're proposing.
You'd be marrying Nikki Yang, though.
Oh, I think you want to be married BMO.
Oh, right. Well, whatever.
Yeah, because that'd be weird. Yeah, I'd marry Nikki. I don't know what Nikki Yang looks like or acts like, or I have nothing.
I mean, she's an incredible voice actor.
Don't even know if Nikki Yang's a she. I have zero knowledge other than there's a human called Nikki Yang. Oh, fun thing about this. Sorry, that just made me think of it. Here's a pop quiz for you, Hotshot.
Okay.
What show has an episode based in the woods in a really weird place, voiced by Kirsten Shaw? Pop quiz, Hotshot.
A place. Well, is the whole
really weird place? Yeah, the whole show's really weird.
And there's an episode in the woods.
Yeah, really weird woods. Talking animals.
With talking animals?
Yeah.
Wait, and who does Kristen Shaw voice?
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you were going to go with a bit.
No, I mean,
She voices both Mabel and one of Jake's children.
Kristen Shaw does Mabel?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm-
God damn it. That baffles me. Okay, so I was listening to this. I heard Jake Jr.'s voice, and I was like, oh, that's Kristen Shaw.
Yeah.
Nothing in my head connected that to Mabel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I
Mabel.
did
Yeah.
not realize that Mabel was Kristen Shaw. Oh my God. I failed that quiz. I failed.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be talking about TV shows.
I guess her name is Kristen. For some reason, I thought it was Kirsten.
It's Kristen Shaw.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
And her last name, interestingly enough, is Dutch. And if we were saying it Dutch, it would be something like Schaal.
Yeah, whatever. My last name is Boolin. You can go suck a dick. I'm not saying it that way.
It's Bolin.
Yeah, because I'm American, motherfucker.
Well, what do you think it's from? It looks English to me.
No, it's German.
Bolin?
Yeah, it means like round bread. My old last name is Buhlenbacher.
Oh.
They're like a baker of round breads.
Oh, yeah, like
Boolin-
round bread.
Yeah. Going back to the previous conversation, they got mad at me that doesn't speak German. Evidence. Evidence.
I mean, Bullenbacher, that means something baker.
Yeah, Boolin means a round thing.
Okay. Huh. I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure that's where the word ball comes from. I may
Really?
have made that up, though.
Okay. That's cool. I mean, sounds good.
Also, my my social security number is, now they give it away.
Seeing Jake do his thing, his whole thing, like, you guys want to see my sleepy little sweeties? Like the way he does it, like the acting for Jake, it's just so good in this episode. Like it's so good. I love Jake in this episode so much. I love Jake when Jake is put into these places where he has to actually think about himself or have realizations about himself or go through personal growth. Like, it's never the same way as Finn, right? For Finn, it's like a human kid growing up, going through all these horrible struggles, facing things that should go in the vault, all this kind of stuff. Jake is so superpowered that, like, he's rarely in real danger.
Yeah.
And when he is in real danger, it's usually his own fault.
Yeah, it's usually because he's a dumbass. Yeah.
So these sorts of places where the danger is like emotional and soulful and all that kind of stuff. I love these moments for Jake because he is the most in spite of being the most physically malleable character on the show, he is the most change resistant character. Like, he just doesn't want to change. And when it does happen, I just think it's a good payoff. It's a long-term investment for the viewer and for the writers, and I think it always pays off.
I would just disagree with one point.
Okay.
I don't think he's change resistant all that much. Because anytime something changes, Jake is immediately like, I guess that's the way it is right now.
Okay, so I don't mean like resistant to external change. I mean he's resistant to himself changing.
But like
his internal emotional self, his like his level of maturity, his level of wisdom, like he's resistant to those things changing.
Yeah, but when they change, he's immediately like, yeah, okay, I'm good. Like, there's a later episode of I think it's Distant Lands that I don't want to give away, but the episode where Finn's looking for Jake in a place. I'm trying to talk around that. And Jake's just like, I guess it's just very, it's just this, it's this now. Like, he's very like shrug and, just laid back about things.
Right.
But I mean, like, your point is well made, but there's also like a duality of him, like, but he's also like 100% accepting too. Like,
he's very accepting. Yeah. And he's and I think part of that is, he does have kind of a, lazy but earnest, like Buddhist approach to things. Like he talks about that a little bit every once in a while too. But I just love this. I love, and then, Mr. Fox.
This is a really fun B story.
Yeah. Mr. Fox. So Mr. Fox, he's a C-lister or maybe even a D-lister. Like, he shows up throughout the series a few times. And in that episode you just mentioned, he's actually a pretty major character.
Yeah.
And I think the last time we saw him was in that really, really uncomfortably weird episode with like Finn going into the woods and he made like Mr. Fox kiss the cow with a talking udder and all that kind of the Phil face udder and stuff. Like, it was a weird and uncomfortable episode. But Mr. Fox having like this whole group of foxes and bringing them the children's book. And then they go and they find, exhausted Jake, like passed out in that clearing. And he's like, look, fellas, there's never going to be a perfect baby.
Yeah.
That's
fun.
I love that scene.
I also just love the way they build this. Like Jake is so afraid of the babies being attacked by foxes, and he's afraid of it, so he throws the book out of the window.
And
it's like a very like Oedipus thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's like this self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. But like because it's this show, the foxes are terrible and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but here's one of the things about this episode that, like, I feel like it probably should have been a skip episode. I'm not really sure where the occult and esoteric stuff is in here.
This episode. The reason I chose it, sorry, I know I'm like jumping the middle. I just want to explain because I did the list. The reason I chose it is because it introduces the children. It's just like, there's so much that like the rest of the show has these people in it that like we couldn't, even this episode, if this episode just sucked, we'd still have to watch it because fucking Jake's kids show up.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, I have to say, like, I know that we want to sort of focus on the occult and esoteric aspects of the show, but we both love Adventure Time, and sometimes we just have to do an episode we love because we love it, or sometimes we have to do an episode that's core to the story.
Yeah, and this is kind of core, but also this might be the cutest BMO's ever been. So BMO with the controller in the baby's mouth, BMO stealing a kiss when
I love that scene.
It's so cute. And then BMO and he's dancing and singing about bread on top of Finn.
Yeah.
And Finn's it's so like BMO is fucking a delight in this episode.
He is. And I mean, we've only had like one BMO centric episode so far. So I don't know if we get any this season, but I know that there are more coming up. And God, I hope we get one.
No, there's definitely a BMO one. I think I remember when I was doing the list. I think football is this season.
Nope, football already happened. Football was one of the Greyballs. But we might have a football episode in this season.
I think there's a football episode this season.
There was a little bit of football in the Greyballs again, by the way.
Yeah, no, I think the full episode is this season.
The football full episode. Okay, that'd be good.
Or maybe
there's also.
No. Sorry, my mistake. No, it's there's a BMO backstory this season.
So, where he goes to the factory.
It's either that, there's BMO alone, or there's a full BMO episode. Cool. The title of which.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Sorry. Overall, this episode, I would say, I'd give it an A+. Yeah. In terms of quality. I was just sort of thinking, like, it's hard to rank Adventure Time episodes. It's hard to be like top 5 episodes, but I love the way that this one touches my heart. And you know what? I'm not a super big fan of children.
I'm more on the A- note on this one. I think it's a fine episode. I just want to point out one more thing in the episode that two more things that I thought were hilarious. Where Jake is running after the children, going like, "No, you can't do that. You can't do that." And he goes, "Too much germs" at a butterfly, and the butterfly gives him the side eye, like he's offended. It's so funny.
That's a really, really nice little detail.
His children make like a puppy Voltron and just destroy everything in its path.
I know. It's oh man, I love it when there's this scene where like. So one of the, well, I mean, I guess it's one of Lady Rainicorn's powers is that she can change colors.
Yes.
Change things colors. So the kids all have Rainicorn horns, and I don't know and I don't think they all have the same superpowers, but at least one of them can change other things' colors. So at the end, when they're beating up all the foxes, like all the foxes have gotten zapped to a different color.
Yeah.
And then they go through, and the foxes are just hurled in all these different directions. It's good. It's delightful. Really fun. It's a delight.
Oh, sorry. I do have one more thing to point out. Jake has a song in the beginning.
Why are you apologizing for pointing out things in Adventure Time?
Well,
like
because
you're supposed to.
Because I said I only had 2 more things, and then I thought of another one.
And then you added another thing?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you're apologizing because you're admitting that you have faults.
Admitting. Sorry. I'm going back for dating talk. I skipped one. Oh, all the little people. I missed one.
Oh my God. I missed that too.
When he's singing a song about pumps and bumps. It sounds a lot like that song, like, My Lovely Lady Lumps.
Oh,
whatever. I don't remember who did that.
That's LSP.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about the real world one.
Yeah, the real world one. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
My humps, my lovely lady lumps. It's the same kind of beat, but like, I don't know if this comes before that song, but it popped in my head, and I forgot I was in the wrong episode, and I'm sorry for being ultra crepidarian.
It's cool. Don't worry about it. We're all ultra crepidarian.
Yes, I have nothing else to say about these episodes.
Well, we already mentioned Kristen Schaal playing Jake Jr. It's Mr. Fox's second appearance.
Wait, did you have Kristen Schaal written on your notes?
Yeah.
And you didn't pick up that was Mabel?
Well, I heard.
Sorry, I don't mean to
I heard what you were saying.
Yeah.
I still didn't make the connection. I was sort of like, is he talking about? I thought you were sort of heading towards a Nikki Yang thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
I honestly, I had never made that connection between.
Oh, yeah.
And now I can't escape it in my head. I know it. I know
To
that.
me, it's like the voice is so unique that I pick up on it, but
It's super unique, but I didn't know Kristen Schaal outside of Mabel when I watched Gravity Falls for the first time, possibly.
Gotcha.
And I'm not a huge Kristen Schaal fan. Her voice is really annoying, so I prefer her as a voice actor than I do.
Oh yeah,
as a
I don't
human
think
actor.
I don't think I've seen her. I mean, sure, I've seen her in human actor stuff. I know her as a voice
I've
actor.
seen her in
Yeah.
some human actor stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but like
That last person on Earth she's in
wasn't
is supposed to be
she-
good. I just never watched it.
oh, that's right. I saw her in some of that.
And I'm pretty sure she was on SNL or something like
I think
that.
she was an SNL
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
Let's see. So, I did want to point out that like Mr. Fox, one of the things that I enjoy about Mr. Fox is that he's got this like really weird stilted speech pattern. And it turns out Mr. Fox is actually played by one of the writers on the show. He's not really a voice actor or anything like that. The writer's name is Tom Herpich.
He's got good tone. That's weird. I thought he was a voice actor.
Yeah, I mean, he just, I guess they must have used him once or heard him once. And they're like, oh, you should play Mr. Fox. And maybe it was one of those things where when they did that season 1 episode or season 2 episode where they had all those animals in the forest, they just were like, oh, we need some new voices. Come and play this fox.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. And then he just,
makes sense. He's got a good voice though. Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. Well, do we have any final segments to do? Should we talk about who won the episode?
Who won the episode?
I mean, aside from TV.
You got an option?
Well, I have a couple ideas.
Okay.
First, Up a Tree was a skip episode, so we didn't really spend any time talking about it. But one of the things that happened in Up a Tree is right at the end, when Finn is escaping the tree, they sail by the snail. They coast by the snail on the frisbee and wave at the snail. And the snail is alive and no longer possessed by the lich. So the snail managed to survive its whole possession ordeal, and it's still going. So I would kind of want to vote for the snail just to celebrate the fact that it still lives, even though that little shit almost destroyed the world by being a vessel for the lich. And another thought would be, I would kind of vote for Kim Kil-won. And this is why. Kim Kil-won is not my favorite of Jake's children, but soon Kim Kil-won will father Bronwyn. And I think Bronwyn is an excellent character, and I really look forward to her showing up. So those would be my two options.
I think Jake's kids are too much of a main character, but I will say I like your snail idea, and I'm going to go with it as well. I think the snail wins the episodes.
All right, snail wins. Snail wins.
Here's our final segment because I just thought of it.
Okay.
Brain teaser from the internet. You get $10 million. But here's the problem. For the rest of your life, you are chased by an immortal snail. If that snail ever touches you, you die instantaneously. The snail doesn't need to eat, doesn't need to sleep. All it does is chase you.
Okay.
Do you take the deal? And how do you prevent yourself from being dead?
Do I get any details about the snail?
It's a snail, it's immortal, and it will kill you if it touches you. That's all the details.
I mean, for $10 million, yeah, I'd take the deal.
And how would you guarantee that you're not going to get touched by the snail?
I would do a few things. I would perhaps have a lot of salt around all the time.
Mm-hmm. Supernatural style.
Yeah, salt circle. I think would be a pretty effective thing. When we say the snail's immortal, what does that mean?
Immortal. What do you mean? It doesn't die. It can't die. It's
so
immortal.
What if you salt the snail?
It would probably get a little dehydrated, but it would be alive still.
But the snail has to do it at snail speed.
Yeah.
Okay. I would do a few things then. I feel like you could do. I've heard this question before.
Yeah, it's a popular one. I
mean,
just thought it'd be fun to bring it up on the show for no good reason.
I mean, I think that there's a few things you could do. So first of all, I really like the cold. So I would probably move very far north and live in a very cold spot for a while. And that would be really delightful for me and really horrible for the snail. So, I mean, I don't know how immortal the snail is.
100% immortal. Yeah.
But, you know, if it's stopped by cold like snails are, if there's nothing for it to eat, if it's got to sustain itself, like...
No, it's immortal. It's like Highlander rules. You don't need to eat. You don't,
Highlanders don't need to eat?
I assume so.
So the snail just keeps crawling?
Yeah. Let's just say that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, I would move someplace really cold. Then I would move someplace really salty for a little while. Then I would cross an ocean.
Okay.
Is the snail very smart?
The snail is smart enough to know where you are at all times and has a ceaseless urge to follow you.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably cross an ocean because you know what? That snail's not going to think about airplanes.
But what about like the moment you get... Okay, so we just made the deal right now.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing? Because you don't know where the snail is. What do you do in the first day?
How is the $10 million delivered to me?
You have it right now. It's in your bank account.
Oh, it just shows up in my bank
It's magic.
account?
This is a magic situation.
I guess I'm not super worried about the first day.
Okay. Do you go to sleep?
I probably travel.
So you just leave all your shit in your house?
I got $10 million bucks.
All right.
What do I need
You
all
just buy
that
it
shit
again?
for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I probably travel immediately.
Okay.
And I go someplace dry.
Okay.
Desert.
Yeah. That's a good theory.
I think my first stop would probably be Salt Lake City. And then I would go out on the Salt Flats and hang out there for a little while so I could make a plan.
Warlock style.
Yeah, Warlock style.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that would be the first thing.
Yeah.
Because I think I'd probably want to invest some of that money in hiring a team of snail investigators.
Yeah.
So that I could figure out where that snail is or what that snail is or what its capabilities are.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, if we can just put the snail in a glass jar, then do that.
Yeah.
Find the snail, put it in a glass jar. Don't need to feed it. Maybe put it in a jar of salt.
Yeah, just be mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I would do, I would accept it and then just fall on the snail and say, finally.
Could you now? I would like to give you an offer. Then maybe what you could do is write out a will and make me your beneficiary, and then fall on the snail.
I think we've had enough will talk. I'm just going to fall on the snail.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Someone should start like an actuary firm or like a lawyer firm and call it "Do As Thou Wilt," and they only do wills. Yeah. Hey, sorry, it's the whole of the law.
All right, so we've already had sort of like a call to action in the middle of the show. I would like to encourage people to check out your Verb Alexx Twitch account.
Yes.
I also want to say we're going to be talking more about occult stuff, so please spread the word about that. Tell a friend about Adventure Time, and ask them to subscribe. Ask them to just listen to an episode. And then also, we're on a bunch of social media shit, but like, who cares about that? Just, tell a friend.
Yes.
And aside from that, come back next time when we will have more awesome Adventure Time talk. Season 5 is a huge season. We've got a lot to get through, and I'm really excited to do it. And we're going to have a really different recording setup, so you can complain about it on social media. Be like, WizBiz with Alexx and Erik used to be great, but now it's all echoey and they sound like space pandas or whatever.
Yeah, probably space pandas. I mean, that's probably the best guess. I would think space panda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything Erik just said, doubly so. And we will see you in a singular for tonight. Goodbye.
What is this?
Film before a live studio audience. Norm!
Mute.